Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Six Pack Sarah, your independent Scentsy consultant. Um, I just worked on this brick video and found out that my microphone wasn't working for the portion where I show you my bricks. I don't know if I'll have time to, in the next several days, to refilm that, so I think I'm going to go with my videos I had earlier. So instead of showing you all my brick stash and what's going on in my brick world, I just am going to show you what I think I might work on in the next few months. I filmed that one a couple weeks ago, so it's a little old, out of date, but not too bad. And then I'll just kind of show you some things. And then in the second half, I chop up a couple bricks, and so you can see how I do that. And I have a little chop and chat session, tell you about myself, and there's a little bit of vendor wax in that part that I chop too while I'm there. Anyway, so you get to actually see some of my brick stash and what I have and what I'm hoping to work on for a couple months, and then I will do an updated full brick stash video maybe before the fall when I use most of my bricks. So enjoy watching today, and thank you for bearing with me. Welcome if you're new, or welcome back if you're returning. Today I'm going to show you some of my brick stash. I have all my fall and winter bricks put away, but anything that I might want to use in the spring, possibly summer, I will show you. Now, for those of you who maybe aren't super familiar with Scentsy or bricks, I will show you about them. I know a lot of you are familiar, and that's why you're here, but just in case you don't know, this is a Scentsy brick. It is quite large. If you're comparing in vendor wax world, from what I've gathered, it's about the size of a loaf, but I like the shape of this because it's already partly divided up, and it comes in the nice clamshell. I've tried to have some vendor wax that I've chopped up, and I don't love the process, but this I find to be a lot easier to chop, because you can just use one giant cube from here, but it is a lot of wax, especially like these ones down here. It might overflow your warmer, so chopping them is a good way to go. I often cut them, like these are smaller ones, maybe in half, but I usually just end up going quarters for all my cubes. But it depends. But that way, if I want to put in 2 chunks, I can. If I want to just do 1, I can. With this one, with sugar cookie, I mix it a lot, so then having a smaller amount is good as well. And if I can figure out how to record from behind a camera, I will show you how I chop it up later in this video. So stay tuned. Okay, so Scentsy does bricks in the Scentsy does bricks in the fall and winter the most. Sometimes they have a spring brick promotion, but they always, every Christmas time, have a set of 5 bricks available, and for the holiday season. Some of them are a little more fall smelling, and they usually come out like late fall before, so you can have them in plenty of time for Christmas. But anyway, they don't, every year they don't do a spring one. Sometimes they do, but not every year. And this year they don't have spring bricks, so they often have more winter scents than spring scents in bricks. They also have bricks available all year long in the Scentsy Club program. You can buy them. 1 brick is $24. I always use a half off item from my club on them, so I only pay $12 for one of these, which is the same amount as to regular bars, which a bar is much smaller. This is about 5.5, almost 5.5 of a brick of a bar. So you're paying for, if you do a half off credit in club, then you're paying $12, which is 2 of these, but it equals 5 to 5.5 bars. So that's a really good deal. And then, but for me, the bricks in the club, they are almost all like super bestsellers. In fact, Sugar Cookie was always a bestseller, and then they just made it club only. But for me, for some reason, I don't dislike any of the bestsellers, but I don't care for them. So I like end up getting multiples of the same thing, including Sugar Cookie, but that's okay. So anyway, so I don't have a lot of spring leaning scents, but I do have several bricks to show you, and I'll show you how much I have of each one and kind of what I think of it. And yeah, anyway, so that's enough of Sugar Cookie, which is one of my favorite Scentsy scents. It was definitely a sleeper for me. I just thought I wasn't gonna like it, and so I just wrote it off for years. And then once I finally tried it, I completely fell in love. So I have that in my club in bar size, and I get it as a brick whenever I think I might need one, which is usually twice a year at this point. Okay, one that I'm keeping out right now is Caramel Sugar Cookie. This is definitely more fall and winter, but since it stays kind of dreary here till later in the spring, I thought maybe I'll be in the mood for it. So I'm keeping it out. A lot of people that I've heard don't like it. I got it in clearance, I think last summer. I don't know where they pulled these out from, but they found them and sold them to us on the cheap. But I actually am very drawn to it. The caramel is definitely more of a smoky caramel, like almost a super, like not burnt caramel sugar cookie, but like definitely brown, definitely extra brown. But I love to bake things until they're a little bit crispy, so that's right up my alley. But I've only used about 1.5 cubes, so it's not something I reach for a lot, but I do like it, and I might be in the mood for it on a dreary rainy day like this, if I remember I have it. The other problem with bricks is I often forget they're there, except when I'm mixing with Sugar Cookie or whatever. So my goal is to use up a couple of these bricks, but we'll see as we go through them what looks possible. Here's another one that is a little more fall and winter, but I like this all year long. I even brought it to my mom's house once in very hot summer and used it, which was nice. Now that was a different brick. I finally used that brick up. It was like an original, I'm sorry, something fell. It was like an original when it came out brick, and I don't know if these were poured later or not, but they put these in clearance, and I had just used up my brick, and I was happy to use it up, but then I saw these for super cheap, so I grabbed 2 of them. It was a club scent for a while, but sometimes it's a little cloying, and other times I absolutely love it. So having a brick is good, because then I have plenty, but I don't have to worry about whether it deserves a spot in my club. And this one I have already chopped in the past, haven't used it yet, but I do have 1 bar left, and it's open in its little spot. Anyway, so like I said, I like to chop them into quarters, and then it also makes it 6 bars worth of cubes for me. Even though it's a little less wax, it's 6 bars worth of cubes, and I like that. Anyway, this is definitely a sweet scent, and I don't necessarily think raisin or muffin, but it's definitely sweet, almost fruity but not quite, and a little bit bakery, and so it's also good for dreary rainy days like this. So since I have 2 bricks of it, I would like to see if I can get through a little bit of it before it gets actually warm out. Another one that is fall and winter leaning, because I'm a fall winter girly, is Caramel Chestnut. I also have a backup of this one, but this one I've gotten a little over halfway used. And when they came out with these bricks, I think it was like 2 winters ago, right before they ended up doing a different shape for fall, for Christmas bricks. It was the one that like put a smile on my face when I would smell it. But it's kind of like a caramel sugar cookie where I need to be in the mood. So caramel chestnut almost has a similar caramel note to caramel sugar cookie, but it's more woodsy. It's very sweet, but a little woodsy. This fall, they put in the catalog a scent called Cinnamon Woods, and that reminded me a lot of this one, but I like this one better. It's another one that's really good for cozy days that are dreary. So yeah, I have plenty of choices for that. And that was also a club scent for a while, but since I was able to get my second brick in a clearance, I took it out of my club. That's what I usually make myself do if I find something in clearance. You can buy it cheap, but you have to take it out of your club. Okay, then we've got vanilla bean buttercream. This is in the catalog all year long in a bar size, and I definitely buy it sometimes. But I love to get it in the brick. Again, it's a great mixing scent, so I love to cut them into quarters and just pop it in. And then I don't feel so bad when I go through a bunch at a time. It is a great vanilla scent. I don't often mix it on its own or melt it on its own. I usually mix it to either sweeten up or tone down a scent that I'm not sure about. But I really should just warm it on its own one of these days. I don't remember if I was going to say anything else. Okay, this is the other shape of brick they have tried. The last 2 winters they did tree-shaped bricks, and they're very cute, but they are a little bit smaller. These are 15 ounces solid weight, and these are 13.5 ounces. But they are pretty cute. They do have more cubes on the back, so you might not have to cut them, but I still do, partly because, again, this is a great mixer scent. So I think what I have a backup of this one as well. I think what I did was bought a 2-pack, like 2 for $40, I think it is, and then used a half off credit for it. So they were $10 a piece, which is a great deal. But anyway, Cozy Kitchen is a good bakery. Again, sometimes I do use this on its own, but I often mix it to add bakery or cinnamon into another scent. And they did just have this one back in Bring Back My Bar, so you might have gotten it recently from Bring Back My Bar. Patricia Gates has a great video on chopping it into this size, and I think an old post about like on Instagram with a diagram, and so I used her diagram to go ahead and chop this one up. But yeah, this one has like oatmeal-y scents plus cinnamon, so it's not as versatile as the others, but it is really good. And there you have it. It's a fun shape, but I have not felt that it's as worth it to try scents in brick form when they are a little bit more costly compared to the old brick size. Alright, my 2-year-old woke up from her nap, but she is now sitting in front of Bluey, all happy as a clam. That's her reward for taking a nap, is getting to watch Bluey. It helps her take a nap, so I'm happy. Alright, one more brick. This one, Sea Salt and Avocado, is from Scentsy Club. This used to be in the catalog. I think it was year-round as well. And then they just put it in bricks in the club. I have chopped this one a while ago, but haven't actually used it. Although there's like a couple like back chunks gone because it totally crumbled when I chopped it, which I had a couple bricks do that season, and I even replaced one of them with customer support. But this one I kept. But anyway, I have like one more bar of this left as well. So I was using up some bars before I actually started warming this. I did think I was going to use it more than I have been. So I've had this for 2 years now and haven't actually used it. But where I like this is in one of our bathrooms. I was able to get my hands on the hand soap in this scent, and I really liked it. So I thought it would be a good wax to go with it. But for whatever reason, I've just been using a lot of other things. But that bathroom is a really good place for me to test scents or use scents that I don't love. For some reason, most of the time in that bathroom, they smell better. But also, it's tucked away away from most things, although it is near the kitchen. But if I really don't like something, I can close the door. So I end up putting this aside a lot of times to try to get through some of my bars that I don't want to hang around. But hopefully this spring and summer I will make a good dent in that brick. But that also is no longer in my club, so well, I guess I can just get another brick, but I don't know if I really want another giant brick of it. That's the thing. They're pretty big. My last spring and summer brick, which I would say is the most spring and summery, is Johnny Appleseed. This is a great apple scent. Yeah. Every once in a while, there's a little tiny floral note that is too much for me. But I do really like it. And again, since it's in a brick, I often forget to use it. So I've had this one for 2.5 years. And I haven't bought any bars since then, although I did have a couple to use up. And this clamshell is super beat up. But my goal is to use up this brick this year. So this is how the Scentsy Club packaging used to be. And then after that, they made some pretty patterns on it. I love the patterns. But this made it obvious it was in club. Anyway, so this one I like in my kitchen a lot, and sometimes I use the pods in my kitchen, but usually I end up taking my, it's not there anymore. I usually take my pod fan out of the kitchen, so I haven't used them for a while. But I love this in my kitchen. It smells like just nice and clean in there when I use Johnny Appleseed. But I need to remember to mix it with other scents more because it's really good as a mixer. I just haven't done it for a long time. So this should be pretty easy to get through if I actually remember to pull it out and mix with things. Oh, I was going to say, they also have Johnny Appleseed in like counter clean. They used to have it all-purpose cleaning concentrate, but they took it from that line, but I have some of that. So I like to also clean my kitchen with Johnny Appleseed, and then I can pair the wax with it, or if I put the wax in, then it just smells clean to me. A lot of times I don't like to have both wax and cleaning products smell the same. It kind of ruins the wax for me, but for this scent it works really good in both ways, at least in the kitchen. But that might be why I'm not reaching for it for my living room, because to me it makes me think clean kitchen scent. But anyway, so those are the 8 bricks I'm planning to work on this spring and summer. I keep this bin, which I got in the consultant store a while ago, but I don't think they have anymore. But a nice cute bin. It fits more than 8, which during the winter is good that I could fit more than 8. It fits plenty of bricks side by side. Like that. And then I keep it on a corner shelf where I keep my other wax and some warmers in my living room, and then they're handy. I just have to remember to keep using them. But hopefully I can come back. We'll see if I make a video at the end of spring, or if I wait till we're transitioning to fall and winter. But I will update you on my brick stash, and I hope you enjoyed seeing my bricks. Again, I will see how many I can make a dent in and let you know. And stay tuned to see if I can do a little chop and chat with my big sugar cookie brick. See you soon. Okay, this is the first time I've tried recording not just on my face. I don't have the best equipment yet, but so I thought I would just try this angle and see how that works. Hopefully you can see and hear okay. So I wanted to chop a couple bricks for you. I'm not going to do the whole thing. And then I do have a couple vendor wax from Rose Girls to chop so I can maybe chat with you a little bit. Okay, again, not sure on the angles on this. Okay, so what I like to do is rather than do the whole brick at once, I just do one row at a time. You can do the whole brick, but I found that if I don't end up getting through it super fast, they kind of start melting back together, so it's not really worth the time. And then there's just, you know, it goes faster to chop a little bit and is better in the long run. So I do about a row at a time, and then I usually pull out any brick I have that needs a row cut, and I'll just chop a row of each. So today I'll do sugar cookie and another row of vanilla bean buttercream. I wanted to show you a couple of my tools. This is my favorite chopping tool because it's nice and portable, handheld. It's just a vegetable crinkle cutter that I got on Amazon. I just searched for vegetable crinkle cutter and picked one. So I just use this only for wax, so I'm not cross-contaminating. I often use paper towel because, you know, then I can easily clean up any crumbles. And I do use this cutting board from Norwex. I think I got it as a gift or something, but I, for some reason, just don't like how it works with food, but I find that it works really well for wax. And then it's, again, designated so only wax is on here. So if I want to even cut a cube of Scentsy into half or whatever, then I can just do it on here. Or if I want to chop, you know, I do my lavender and speckles shapes, I do them in half. So I just quickly come chop it and then put my stuff away. But I do have a larger crinkle cutter. Again, I got this on Amazon. I just found one that I thought looked good and use this for larger items. So sometimes I'll use this on like chopping a brick row off, but usually I end up going back to the little one. But anything that's just basically wider than this, I'll go for this one. After I cut my mom's loaf of Luke's Diner for her, I was like, I needed something bigger, so I got that. That's the only loaf I've ever done, but here we go, I've got this. And I do find it works better for Rose Girls chunk muffins. Even though this is about the right width, it works better to have the big guy. So I've got those for my tools. Some people just use a butter knife or other types of knives or even fishing line, I've heard, but this is what I use. Okay, so what I do, I just crack it open. It actually has a crack down the middle now, but that's okay. So I'll just pop out half of the brick, and then this is where I do like having this, because then I can just do a nice clean cut. I have definitely just broken the two pieces apart before, because they do break pretty easily, see? But it sometimes works more cleanly if you cut it, so I do that when I can. And then I put the row back that I'm not using, and then I just kind of start chopping. I prefer mine in quarters each cube, no matter what size I usually do in quarters. Some people do halves. I have done thirds in my holiday bricks I've had. Sometimes I do like really thin lines if I think I'm going to want to mix it with other things, or for samples I just was doing thin ones. But anyway, Anyway, so I just chop just kind of slowly down, and it goes pretty easy. So that's nice. Every once in a while it doesn't go as planned, but for the most part it's pretty simple. Then when I'm done, I just put it back in the section. And doing it one row at a time definitely makes it easier to remember which section it came from. Okay, so a little about me. I call myself Six Pack Sarah because, number one, I have 6 children, so I call them my 6-pack. That's just fun. But Scentsy has always done buy 5 bars of wax, get 1 free. And we call it a 6-pack. So I liked the double entendre of that. Now recently, as of this spring, they made it so that you can only get that buy 5 bars, get 1 free through a consultant. So you definitely can still take advantage of that, but you can't just go on the website and order. So if you ever do find yourself wanting to buy 5 bars and get 1 free, I would be more than happy to help you out. But I'm kind of bummed that they kind of took away my name. Anyway, see, sometimes it crumbles. It's usually not too bad, but sometimes it does. So, yeah, so that's why I picked that name of 6-Pack Sarah. My kids finally caught on to the fact that I'm filming videos, and they think it's amazing that I called myself 6-Pack Sarah because of them. My kids range in ages from 14, my oldest just turned 14, all the way down to 2.5. And the older 5 are all in school right now. And then the youngest is home with me. She's taking her nap. Next year she's going to go to 3K a couple days a week. So in the mornings she will be at school and learning her ABCs. I don't know. Having fun with friends. She actually can sing just about the whole ABC song, and she can count. She counts to like 14 and then starts over or something. And skips one of the numbers. I can't remember which one right now. Okay, I'm going to chop a row of vanilla bean buttercream. While I'm here chopping, I have a little more than a cube left to use, but this will encourage me to continue to use my brick before I decide to replace it. Because in May, I do have another Scentsy Club shipping, so if I want to purchase another brick, I'm gonna have to use a good portion of what I have, of at least one of my bricks. But anyway, yeah, so I've never done an official chop and chat or any chatty videos. I would love it if you leave any questions that you would like me to try to answer. That would be wonderful, and I won't have too much to chop, but I could do another type of chatty video sometime. I have been using Scentsy. I can't remember exactly which fall I started, but it was, I think, probably 2010, but maybe 2009, because my oldest was born in 2011 after we bought our house. I definitely started using Scentsy because I knew we were going to buy a house, and I wanted to have something to make our house smell like our house rather than just whatever random smells the person had before us. Okay, so this, I was trying to put the 4 pieces back in the section, and they didn't fit very well, so I just gave up and put them in open holes, which will make it easier to grab when I use them. So sometimes it's not super neat and organized. Anyway, so I have been using Scentsy for quite a long time. I didn't start selling until 2018, so it's been 7 years now. Guess so. Like, I just had my 7 years anniversary, and I mostly started because I moved away from the consultant that I really adored, and I wanted to have my own testers so I could decide which scents to purchase without buying whole bars blind. And then they started doing a ton of limited time offers, so I ended up buying a bunch of bars that I don't know what they smell like after all. But they used to do it, I think it was once every 3 months you had to sell, $250 or something within 1 month, every 3 months. It was pretty hard to keep up with. But then with COVID, they changed it. So it's only once a year you have to do that much in 1 month. And so between their change and my ability to have grown my business a little, it's still pretty small. I would still say it's just my hobby. I'm able to get 250 almost most months. Every once in a while, like December usually, especially, I just kind of don't work hard at it, and it's fine. But yeah, so I'm able to keep doing that because of those changes, and that's really nice. It just kind of helps me afford to have this hobby and to kind of get to know some more people, which is nice. So then I didn't start trying vendor wax, which would be Rose Girls. It was my first one I tried. I didn't start vendor wax until, until the end of 2023, and it's because I heard about Luke's Diner from Rose Girls, and my mom and I loved Gilmore Girls, so I wanted to try that, and then that kind of opened up a floodgate. Okay, so I just went over to my microwave and microwaved my muffin a little bit. The first couple of times I tried chopping Rose Girls, it was so frustrating to me. I didn't like it at all, so I looked some methods up and things, and some people recommend microwaving it a little bit to chop it. Some people don't like to do that because there's no data on how the wax is affected that way. But because I was so frustrated, I go ahead and do that. I do less than 30 seconds total, and at every 10 to 15 seconds I turn the shape around a little bit to kind of make sure it's pretty evenly softened. See, I might have done it a little too long because it's sticking. But that way it doesn't just crumble on me. That's what I was having a hard time with, was it crumbling. So that helps me a lot to be able to chop it. I just kind of guess how small I want it. Some scents I'll do smaller because I'm pretty sure I will only want a little bit at a time. Or if I want to do use a bunch of warmers and have a small chunk in a bunch of warmers with a little bit in each. So that was, I'm not going to get the angle right. This is Lemon Betty, lemon poppy seed cake, cup of cake, white cake, buttercream frosting, and cupcakes at Tiffany's. It's so good. She just offered it in her last pre-order that just closed, and I went with purchasing 3 bags. I definitely almost bought 4. I'm sure any amount I bought would have been good, but I was trying to not spend too much. So I just went with that, and then I only got the strawberry sampler she's offering because I do like a lot of her strawberry scents. So I went with just those 2 items for the last pre-order that I will get in about a month. But anyway, so then I have just put it right back in the bag, chopped up muffin. So then it's not as cute. So that's one reason I like the mini melters, because if you have to chop it up anyway, might as well. But yeah, I'll be right back. I have to warm up another muffin. I do microwave my muffins on a clean piece of paper towel to kind of keep my microwave clean. And then, yeah, sometimes you have to wipe off your chopper in between. This one is Pineapple Upside Down Twinkies, which is pineapple upside down cake and cream-filled Twinkies. I actually purchased this one last April, and I purchased it more for my son because he was like, that sounds really good. And I told him, okay, but pineapple's not my jam, so I'm not going to use it unless you're asking me for it. Well, now that it's been a year since that birthday, he hasn't asked for it, so I'm like, I'm going to chop it. And he's got the mallard warmer from Scentsy down in his area, so I'll keep this down there and see if he uses some of it. It does smell better to me than it did originally, and I think I'm just getting desensitized to pineapple. I don't think I mind it as much as I used to. But the pineapple does remind me of pineapple mango from Bath and Body Works, and then a couple years ago I realized that Scentsy's pineapple mango smelled pretty similar. And I don't know what it was, but I really liked using the hand soap on a vacation. So I have been using the hand soap in the summer with the wax in my bathroom warmer, and that's been nice. So that's probably the other reason I'm not minding this as much, because it's more familiar. But I grew up not liking to eat pineapple. I blame it on the fact that I've always lived in the Midwest and in the northern area of the country. So I call myself a northern girl. I prefer pine trees to palm trees and prefer strawberries to tropical fruits. Very much so. But yeah, I'm glad they have labels on the bags because those two muffins looked a lot alike. Okay, the last one I'm going to chop today is Starbeans Cafe. And originally, the first year, I got a couple snowflakes. And while they're adorable, I don't really like them because I don't like having to deal with the glitter on there. It's really pretty, but I prefer it not to be in my warmers. I do use paper cup liners often, especially when I have glitter, but whatever. So I'm going to go microwave that, and I'll be right back. All right, we are all microwaved. The snowflakes, since they're not quite as thick in any direction or all directions as the muffins, I don't think it needs as much time in the microwave. So I tried doing about 10 seconds on each side. Starbeans Cafe is one of my top Rose Girl scents. It is espresso, vanilla crunch donuts, and vanilla bean Noel. So I've repurchased this several times, and I can use it all year long as my coffee scent. Let's see. It's always hard to decide if you're gonna do which direction you're gonna chop those snowflakes. And it's always so sad to chop these. They're just so pretty as is. She sells giant snowflakes too that are quite expensive, but they're a lot of wax. And they're always so beautiful, but A, there's a ton of glitter, and B, you'd have to chop them. So I refrained from purchasing them, but they're so pretty. So last time I think I did it I chopped it on the inverse angles, and this time I'm doing the corners because the other ones seem too bulky. But look at this. At least I can make like even pieces. Yeah, so about 10 seconds on each side worked good for this snowflake. I purchased one snowflake set, which she does have larger snowflakes, and she gave me 2 smaller ones instead. So I purchased one snowflake portion, which was 2 snowflakes, and then I think I did 3 bags of mini melters because I love it a lot. So I wanted to have the fun snowflake, but I also prefer the mini melters. Anyway, yeah, so the other one, I have 1 piece left. I'll show you. Sorry for the noise. So I originally chopped it so that each little petal would be on its own, and then this time I tried this V-way, so I don't think it really matters. But I wanted to use up my snowflakes first, even though they're pretty, just because otherwise I could see myself hoarding them. I was going to say one more thing, and I can't remember what it is. So that is all I have to chop today. I do, even if it's not too crumbly, you do have some pieces left sometimes. I think it's hard to see, but there's pieces on there. So usually I just take everything in my paper towel and I just bring it over to whatever warmer I've got going on. Usually by the time I'm chopping, the scent I have in there is died down enough that I don't mind adding a little to it. But yeah, so that's how I chop my wax. It's fun once in a while, but I'm glad I don't do it very often. Okay, so let me know how you feel about chopping wax. Do you prefer to buy the muffins because they're smaller, or do you prefer to get the stuff that you don't have to chop? Do you buy other vendors that you chop, or do you only go with ones that you can just break apart into pieces? Let me know in the comments.